After I reviewed World End Syndrome, I got some recommendations to play this game, Raging Loop, another visual novel with a tangentially relevant theme as it also deals with the concept of Yomibito. However, this game is very different, and in a good way if you ask me. This might sound weird, but I'm going to start by revealing a central spoiler to the game's plot and mechanics. I'm doing this because when it comes to recommending it, I feel like this information is necessary so you know what kind of game you're actually getting into. I know that if I knew this game's core mechanics from the outset, I would have been way more excited in the first few hours I was playing it. The clue is in the name, so I don't feel too bad about spoiling this, but Raging Loop is about a time loop. When your character dies, they reset the loop while retaining their memories, and the game is about figuring out how to break it by making different choices and approaching pivotal scenes with the right information. The story is centered on a heavily drawn out, in a good way, game of Werewolf, where the inhabitants of a village believe wolves have infiltrated their ranks, and they must root them out according to the rules of the game, while the wolves try to kill everyone without being found out. It's Werewolf, or Mafia, or whatever you want to call it, but with deadly stakes, and as someone who isn't super into those games the way they're played in quick rounds IRL, putting those mechanics in a game that takes place over the course of a week, where people really get the opportunity to nurture suspicions and have to maintain their cover for such a long period of time, makes it so much more compelling. Thanks to the looping mechanic, you also get multiple iterations where different people have different roles, and it's so damn exciting. This is a big brain game. Raging Loop is Werewolf played at the highest level. My brain was sizzling watching some of these people explain their tactics, and the reasoning was always sound, even if occasionally implausible, that certain people who were just introduced to the concept of the game a day ago could already be wizard geniuses at it. Yes, it's scripted, but your choices make a difference and can lead to bad endings, which is actually a good thing, because viewing bad endings sometimes give you keys to unlock the right choices, if the bad ending had necessary information in it for you to then make a better choice. The plot is full of twists and turns, and outside of merely guessing who may or may not be a werewolf in the given iteration, the background lore and character intrigue is at a very delicious level. People don't always follow the rules, and the nature of the rules themselves are the subject of multiple mysteries. What happens to certain people when they're pushed to their breaking point? Which characters are more than meets the eye? How do people deal with the very real consequences of murder? The time loop aspect is very zero-escapey. You get an overarching timeline of points you can warp to redo choices and see what happens. This game had me hooked after a few hours. Would have been sooner if I knew it was more than just a single straightforward game of Werewolf, so that's why I think it was worth spoiling that aspect. But once I got hooked, I played it for like 10 hours straight across multiple nights. The story almost never lets up, and the deliberations when deciding who's what during the feasts just had me glued to the damn screen coming up with my own theories, some of which were even correct. This game is legit with plot consistency. When it throws a revelation at you, it has receipts. It will literally go back and show you times when a character said something you should have picked up on to realize the thing your character just deduced. It's very thorough. Raging Loop joins the ranks of games like Danganronpa and Zero Escape, where I'm now sad that I know everything because it was so fun to find out. So let's get to the game graph. For Raging Loop, the categories are going to be story, characters, and mechanics, since that's pretty much all there is to a visual novel. The story is the strongest point. It is a narrative treat. It will latch your lips onto its baited hook and you won't even complain when it pulls you out of the water and skewers you. It's a little slow to start, but it's also deceptively super long. I think it must have been around 20 hours beginning to end. So once you do get going, you're on that ride with your arms up cheering for the entire rest of it. Every time the game did something that showed it was going to be longer than I thought, I was like, oh hell yeah, dude, with palpable enthusiasm. The story gets a 95 from me. Almost all the characters in this game are compelling in their own way. There was really only 1 or 2 out of 16 where I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm tired of you, you're either annoying or you offer nothing. This game has romance storylines, but you don't have agency over them, and I wouldn't say any of the options are particularly appealing, owing to some personality flaws, but the characters overall are great and more fleshed out than usual since you get to see how some of them play the game under different circumstances. I give characters a 90. Mechanics involves the looping aspect and the timeline jumping, playing the game through the different narrative branches and using bad ending keys to unlock new paths. I like this system. Every time you get a bad ending, you can choose to view a hint that tells you where to go next in the timeline in order to progress, which saves you from getting lost in time like Bugs Bunny on the PlayStation. I give mechanics an 85. The interface is kinda stiff, but functionally does what it's supposed to. So now it's time for the overall score, which is not an average of the previous scores, just an overall score. I'm giving Raging Loop a 91 out of 100. It's absolutely worth your time. That said, there's more than a few lengthy lore dumps, and only most of them are interesting. And I liked the loops themselves a lot more than I liked actually discovering what was causing them. The finale's kind of weird. But the bulk of the game is incredible, so there you have it. That's gonna do it for this game graph. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more videos. Follow me on Twitter at Sunburned Albino. Watch every video I've ever made while parallel parking at a Walgreens, and I'll see you guys next time.